See, the thing is so hairdresser's mindset, and I don't blame them because I was the same way. We hate home hair color, but by denying that it exists means we don't get a piece of that $30 billion a year pie.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dr. Kristen Donnelly, one of the good doctors of Abbey Research. At Abbey Research, we believe in changing the world through stories and relationships, powered by curiosity and active, empathetic listening. That's a lot of words to essentially mean we all need to get to know each other a little bit better. Because once we get to know each other, once we actually understand what makes people tick, what their histories are, what their contexts are, we can understand their motivations better, and then we can understand them better, and it just kind of keeps going from there. This series is in service of that goal. It's called Welcome to My World, and I get the opportunity to talk to fascinating folks who are different than me, which is literally everybody, about something in their lives that I don't know a whole lot about, and you may not either. And today's guest is absolutely no exception. I am honored to be joined by Karen Ann Jacks, who we met through Elevate, which is a women's-only networking collaboration of I hate saying entrepreneurs because it's not. It's business women and wise professional women. And we've only met online, but the minute we got into a conversation, I was like, oh my gosh, I have so many more questions. Let's get to a place where I can turn on a camera and unleash my questions upon you and the audience at the same time. And Karen was very gracious enough to say yes. So Karen, thank you so much for joining me.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh my gosh, you are so welcome. So in my excitement to tell everybody about Elevate, I forgot to say that why we wanted to talk is that you've developed your own hair care line, color in particular. So I want to get to that. But first, I would love to know what drew you to professional hair life in the first place.
Well, I didn't want to get into the industry, to tell you the truth, into the beauty industry. I thought that's what losers do. People who couldn't meet the challenges in school and college and so forth. And college wasn't an option for me. I grew up in a poverty. I lived in an orphanage. I moved into different family members with foster families, and I went to a different school every year. I kind of fell through the education floor. I mean, I just fell through the cracks. Sorry about that. Fell through the cracks. And education just wasn't an option. And someone said, why don't you go to beauty school? I don't want to go to beauty school. That's what losers do. No. But I went to a beauty school. Holy cow. I walked in and I knew it. I knew it was for me. I loved the energy, the imagination, the design, the science, the chemistry, the math. There's math in hair cutting. Who knew? Right? And the chemistry and hair color. And then I get to bond and connect with people, and I'm creating something new every 30 minutes. I'm like a duck to water. I totally get it. And I loved it.
I love how you talked about that, because I think people that don't, like during the pandemic, when none of us could see our, hair care specialists, it was derided so often as being like, just kind of a self-care thing. I was like, no, a lot of people have a real strong relationship with the people that do their hair, because it's this kind of caring, considerate relationship that you describe.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And I love it. And I knew that this was for me. And I can create my own career path. How far and how much work I'm willing to do. I have a motto, and that is, a successful person is willing to do what the average is not. And I'm not going to be average. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to learn more than the average. I'm going to exercise my applications and build up my speed so that I can accommodate as many people as possible.
I love it. So can you walk us through beauty school to owning your own color line now?
Yeah. So, I did, but hairdresser a long time, right? And then about 10 years ago, we, as hairdressers, we always hated home hair color. Bad, no, unprofessional. We can't support that. So, but some of my clients who didn't have the time or money to see me on a regular basis, which I can understand, said, "Hey, can you sell me some of that good stuff in the back?" And I thought, God, I wish I could, but it's not packaged that way, and we can't customize it. It comes in big bulk, just applications, and I can't break it down, and it depends on the developer and the application style. And I thought, how can I solve that? Well, after many years of research and development, I found a manufacturer in Italy who would even talk to me. I reached out to many manufacturers. I tried to make it a US product, but what I learned is the standards in Europe are a bit higher for the hair color and the pigments. So I went with Italy, and they understood. Now, they are a manufacturer that makes professional hair color. Okay, great. So I said, but can you make it in small tubes for me to resell to customers? He said, I get what you want to do, and I think it's a great idea, and it's a service that we need to help. And yes, we will. So they created, here's a small tube. And so it's in single applications. And so I had this development, right? The idea, but then I was ready to lose all my clients. My easy one-step hair color applications. I was like, Betty, I've got your perfect brown. Here you go. You can color your hair at home. And she said, no, Karen, please don't stop coloring my hair. But I have an aunt or a sister. They color their hair at home. Can I send them to you? That's when I realized my ego is so huge. And I think we hairdressers really believe that more people color their hair in the salon, but 75% color their hair at home.
Yeah.
Okay, well, how can we service our 25% that stay in the salon? Like you said, Kristen, they want to stay with the hairdresser. They don't want to leave. Like when you had to color your hair at home during the pandemic, it was great if you had a hairdresser who could help you with a professional option, but you're going to go back to them as soon as you can.
Oh, the literal second she texted me, yeah. And I didn't even bother coloring my hair at home because it never looks as good as when she does it. I'm too impatient. I'm not nearly as meticulous as she is. I dyed my hair at home for, most of college because of money. And mine is just like this. I just do a red tint. I like to have a little bit more auburn in my hair, but like my friends that did their own blondes, like they always go to salons because you always blonde is so tricky and so weird and changes on the seasons and everything else. So no, I know a lot of people that dye their hair at home, a lot of people. And but I know just as many of us that the second that somebody was like, yeah, the government says I can dye your hair again. I'm like, when can you fit me in? There's also something really therapeutic about sitting in a chair. And I joke all the time with my gorgeous, wonderful colorist and hairstylist that I would go every week just to have her wash my hair because her nails are magic. But I think I love when we met and you were talking about that it's a different experience. And I think as an entrepreneur, that's what you recognized is that all women, all people, all humans who dye their hair are not a monolith looking for the exact same experience.
That's true. They're not. Sometimes they want to color their hair at home at 11 o'clock at night once the kids are in bed, and they do not want to go sit in the salon and have to deal with it. But they want a professional that can hold their hand along the way that helps to make sure it's the right hair color.
So how does that work then? Do people come to you first, you help them with the hair color, and then you start sending them the custom vials? What does this look like?
Yes. So what we do is we meet online.
Okay.
Online, and they fill out a color questionnaire, and I review it, and I determine if home hair color is the right option for them, or I say, you know what, you need to visit a salon. This is not the right option for you.
What kind of things make you say this isn't the right option?
If they want more than 2 levels of lift, or if they want an intricate application, or if they have previously colored hair and they want to go from a brown to a blonde, you need to do that in the salon.
Right.
Yes. So if they want more than 2 levels of lift and an intricate application, I say no. And I do refer them to hairdressers all across the country that I've partnered with.
Oh, I love that.
So
Yeah.
now the next phase, now here's the fun part, right? I mean, I can do this on my own, but I don't want to. The fun part is now hairdressers can build their online platform as well. They don't have to buy the product. They just facilitate the consultation, submit the order like a prescription, and then I ship the product. And every time that customer reorders, the hairdresser who filled that prescription earns a residual income. So they keep their salon business and they build an online business platform.
Holy cow. That's fascinating. And especially in a volatile industry like hairdressing, having a subsidiary income has to be really valuable to a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, it's residual. We've never had residual income.
Never.
No. And I see, and the thing is so hairdresser's mindset, and I don't blame them because I was the same way. We hate home hair color, but by denying that it exists means we don't get a piece of that $30 billion a year pie. Or we could try to convince them to come into the salon, but that ain't working, right? I'm from Texas. Okay, we said 8, whatever. But yes, it is not working. So why not figure out a different model so that we can get a piece of that pie?
My gosh. And it's so obvious that you love what you do, but I'm wondering what is your favorite element of what you're doing right now?
Oh, you know what it is? It's helping people get a great hair color, shiny hair, and they feel confident coloring their hair at home with a product that they've never been able to achieve before. That just makes my heart happy.
Oh, I love that. And then obviously your entire profession surprised you in a way. But beyond that, is there anything in the last, little bit of your career that has surprised you, especially maybe about people or about the industry itself?
Yeah, what surprised me was the pandemic. My
welcome.
business grew 1,500%, and I had hairdressers going, help me, help me, help me. And my business model was not set up for that yet. It was not set up. And I was like drinking from a water hose. It was so intense. But what I learned is in those difficult, uncertain times, I can make it. It's like, eating an elephant one bite at a time and focus and not get distracted.
Oh, that's so, so good. I think, we all had and continue to have different pandemic experiences. And we talk about that a lot on this channel, is that, while there are patterns, like some people like yourself, business wise, it really exploded. Other people had to close down, things like that. There are patterns, but then how we individually interacted with it is as unique as we are, kind of thing. But I love the reminders that, in some ways it did open up opportunities to shift how we think about some things, like maybe home hair color for people that would have never thought about it before, that there can be this marriage of your bathroom and the salon in a way that there wasn't before. So it's a really exciting, it's one of those things we have to learn to hold excitement and grief simultaneously. And that's what I think the pandemic needs to continue to teach us.
Yeah. And I ultimately, towards the end, what I realized is fear and uncertainty was holding back my creativity and ways how to solve my problems. Once I got out of that fear and went into how can I focus on the situation and solve these problems, is when things started to come clear and I could put them together, building the website and such. Yeah, that's a whole different subject, but yes.
That's the kind of stuff that I tell all the time our incredible, I call her our techno mage, Eleanor, who is our editor and website person and everything. I always tell her, that's the first thing most entrepreneurs outsource is how do I build an online store? Whether they set up with Shopify or they set up with a custom thing, the first thing most of us do is how do I get someone else to do my tech? Because that's not my zone of genius. So
yeah, I have a hybrid. I have help, but I also have learned how to work it myself.
And I think that's the best of both worlds. I feel similarly, like I can do most things in a pinch, but like all the really creative visionary stuff, I just like look at her and I say, this is like, and even better, my business partner is the visual person. So the two of them will be going back and forth and I'm just watching the Slack channel go by. Like, you guys go with God. Like, I love this so much because it's a different zone of genius. It's a different creativity than I personally have. So I love that.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm mindful of our time. And so to wrap up, I would love to know, what is something you wish everybody would know about your job?
About my job. I think as a hairdresser is understanding the balance between the science and artistry and the therapy that goes along with it, and how we as hairdressers have to set up good, strong boundaries so that we don't get pulled into the drama of your issues as you're sitting in the chair.
Yeah, because that's not training you guys are given.
Mm-mm.
Even though we expect it of you as a culture.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, we should start partnering schools of social work with beauty schools so that we can prepare you guys a little bit better.
Yes, yes. And I think good hairdressers know how to create the science and the artistry, and also create the boundaries around helping you without taking on the damage and arrows that could be thrown at us, like therapists.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the very first things they teach us in social work school, and I'm sure in therapy, specific therapist training as well, is how to be yourself, protect yourself, and still be fully present for the person in front of you.
Yes.
And that's a practice. Like, there were days I'm really good at it, and there are days I'm terrible at it. So it's a disciplinary practice.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. This has been so much fun, Karen Ann. Thank you so much. I loved learning this stuff. I love thinking about hair care also as chemistry. That's so much fun to think about how creative it is, and how, I don't know, how you found this very specific spark in your life that you didn't even know you needed. And it's such a beautiful story. I'm so excited to see where the business goes from here. And I will be very excited to be able to be like flipping the channel someday, and someone will be like, well, I have Karen Ann at home hair color. And I'm like, I talked to her. So really, really excited for you. What's next for the kits, for the at-home kits?
So, well, what I'm doing now is I created an online course for hairdressers to go through my 5-week program to learn how to do hair color and science behind the Della Rica formulation, and they can start placing orders themselves. So I have an online course for hairdressers to teach them how to place orders with Della Rica.
Love it so much. That's so exciting. I know I'll be sending this to all of my friends who are in the beauty industry, because I can't wait for them to know about it. So I would love to thank you again for this really, really fascinating conversation. And folks, if you loved it as well, please hit that thumbs up. YouTube really likes it. And if you love these kind of conversations that are sprawling and interesting and maybe about things you've never thought about before, I have a lot of them. So please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one. The way to get in touch with Karen Ann is going to be underneath the show notes here on YouTube. Make sure to explore the course if that's an appropriate thing for your profession, but then also her social medias and some other kind of things, and maybe even pass it on to who does your hair if that's appropriate. In the meantime, I am Dr. Kristen Donnelly. My guest today has been Karen Ann Jacks. This has been Welcome to My World. You have been very, very welcome to join us in Karen Ann's world. And I will see you next time with another fascinating person from around the world. Bye.